Imagine you are building a groundbreaking new mobile banking application. You need a highly secure financial recognition login system. You have two options: spend 9 months building it from scratch in house or source it from an expert vendor. Most companies decide to buy, but here is where the nightmare begins. You write a quick email to three vendors saying, "Send me a quote for a facial recognition system." You get three completely different responses. One quote is for $10,000 and one is for $200,000, and the third is just a brochure of standard webcams. What went wrong? You used the wrong bid document. Skip stepped structured evaluation, and now your project timeline is in absolute jeopardy. Welcome back to PMLearn. In today's video, we are diving deep into the bid process and procurement documents. We will break down exactly when to use an RFI, RFP, and RFQ, how to run a bidder conference, and the art of negotiating a multi-million-dollar vendor contract. If you want to level up your product management or project management career, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's get into it. Let's start at the beginning. Sourcing external vendors is a core part of project integration. If you are preparing for PMP or scaling a startup, mastering this process is non-negotiable. The whole procurement process operates under a cycle called the source to contract (S2C) framework, and this framework rests on what I call the Solicitation Trinity. As you can see on this slide, before you send out a single document, you have to determine how well you understand your requirements. Do you know exactly what you need down to the millimeter and unit? Or are you looking for suppliers to present creative, highly engineered, and custom solutions? Using this wrong document creates immense downstream impact. It wastes time, leads to poor partner selection, and can ever trigger compliance audits. Now look at this table on this slide. Let's break down these three essential documents using clear real-world examples. First, we have the RFI, or request for information. Think of an RFI as your research phase. You use this when you are entering a new unfamiliar market. For example, your company wants to migrate to an AI-driven automated customer support tool, but you have no idea who the market leaders are, what features exist, or how much it typically costs. You issue an RFI to 10 vendors. You ask, what are your tools, core capabilities, and how does your pricing model work? Now, commitments. It is purely to filter out weak candidates and design your actual specifications. Second is the heavyweight champion, the RFP, or request for proposal. This is used when you have a complex custom problem, but you don't know how to build the solution. For example, you want to build a fully automated smart warehouse system. You have the land and the goals, but you need a partner to design the robotics, integration code, and software interfaces. You issue an RFP. You tell the vendors, here are our space constraints, volume goals, and budgets. Propose a solution on how you will accomplish this. Finally, we have the RFQ, or request for quote. This is a pricing showdown. You use this when the product is standardized, easily available, and price is the only variable. For example, your company needs to upgrade 50 office laptops to a specific off-the-shelf model. You don't need a proposal on how a laptop works. You need an RFQ to authorized dealers saying, Give me your best price and faster delivery date for 50 Lenovo ThinkPads with these exact specifications. Do you see the difference? RFI, I need information to learn. RFP, I have a complex problem, solve it for me. RFQ, I know exactly what I want, tell me how much it costs. Once you describe your request for proposal or request for quote to a pre-screened list of vendors, they start preparing their bids. But inevitably, vendors will have questions. Can we use our own API standard? Does the database require multi-region replication? Instead of answering these questions individually, which would give some vendors an unfair advantage, you host a bidder conference. In PMBOK terminology, this is a meeting where all prospective sellers gather with the buyer. During this conference, you present the scope, answer technical questions, and record every single question and answer. The critical role of bidder conference is fairness. Every seller must receive the exact same information at the exact time. If a vendor asks a question in private, you must publish the answer to everyone. Once the submission deadline passes, you receive proposals from multiple vendors. How do you pick the winner? It's not just about the lowest price, specifically for complex requests for proposals. You must establish source selection criteria. As you can see on this slide, we use a weighted matrix model. We assign different weights to variables based on what matters most for the project. In our slide, we have example like technical solution, which is 30% weight. Does their solution solve our problem? Vendor experience, 25% weight. Do they have a proven track record? Price, 25% weight. Is the total cost within our threshold? Timely delivery, 20% weight. Can they deliver by our deadline? Look at how this play out on this slide. We evaluate three vendors, alpha, beta, and gamma. Even though vendor gamma is the cheapest and second incredibly high on the pricing metric, their technical solution was weak. On the other hand, vendor alpha achieved a massive 89% overall score because they dominated the technical and delivery criteria, giving us the highest overall value. Using this structured matrix removes personal bias, protects your project, and provides a clear, auditable trial for stakeholders. So, you have picked vendor alpha as your winner. Are you ready to sign the contract? Not yet. Now begins the most crucial phase, contract negotiation. One big mistake junior project managers make is thinking that negotiation is only about lowering the price. That is a myth. In professional procurement, almost everything is on the table. As highlighted on this slide, here are the key parameters you should negotiate. First, financial terms. Don't pay everything upfront. Negotiate milestones-based payments. Example, 20% on design sign-off, 30% on development completion, 50% on successful launch. This keeps the vendor motivated. Second, schedules and SLAs. Define clear service level agreements and liquidated damages. If the vendor delays launch by 2 weeks, what is the penalty? Build this into the contract. Third, intellectual property, IP. Who owns the code or design at the end? If you are paying for custom development, ensure the contract explicitly states that your organization owns 100% of the intellectual property. Fourth, resource allocation. Ensure the vendor locks in their A team for your project. You don't want them to pitch your with their senior engineers only to swap them out for juniors the moment the contract is signed. By systematically executing these steps from request for proposal to selection, bidder conference, and strategic negotiation, you transform procurement from a risky structural task into a predictable high value mechanism for your organization. And that is how you master the bid process and procurement documents. If you are currently managing a project or studying for your PM certificates, try using these templates to structure your next vendor engagement. I have left a link in the description below to access our custom procurement matrix template. What has been your biggest challenge when you working with external vendors? Let me know in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your PM team, and subscribe to PMLearn for more premium product management masterclasses. I will see you in the next class.